and welcome to the channel. Thank you for taking the time to join me always. My name is Deborah. This is Purusha Intuitive, and we're going to look at the energy for the week. So let's get into it. I hope that you're doing well. I hope that things are moving well for you during this Leo season. We had a new moon last week and Mercury went into retrograde right after. So right now we have 4 planets in retrograde: Mercury, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. And retrograde basically forces us to slow down, to look at issues, situations, people, things that we might be coming into contact with that need readjusting, reevaluation, and readjustment. Mercury is going to be in retrograde this whole month, so we want to be mindful of our communication, especially in those areas that things are a little more messy or sticky. It's not the time to force our agenda as much as we would like to convince other people, etc. We really need to be grounded in what we think, feel for ourselves and not waver from that. And like I said, it's not about convincing other people to get on board. If they're not on board, then they're just not on board. And that's part of the learning, actually. That's part of what we need to see. This week, there is going to be some tension. Tension is mounting and building. I'll get into the astrology a little bit more after we do this energy cleansing. It's a great way to set the tone for the reading, clean out any lower vibrational energies, blocked energies, things that we just don't really want in our environment, things that we are kind of hindering us from seeing clearly, seeing the truth. And right now, our intuition is heightened. So it can be a little destabilizing because we're seeing things about people and situations that, yes, maybe we had some inclinations around, but it's actually manifesting and it's hard to avoid. And part of us doesn't really want to acknowledge it. That Venus energy is being a little bit soft right now, wanting to believe in the best. But it's very, very important to see things realistically so we have better information, better awareness on how to move forward. So we'll start with this energy cleansing, set the tone, set the vibe. It's also a really good time to set your own intention for the reading. If you would like specific messages or questions answered from spirit, now is the time to do it. And let's get into it. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is blocking the highest and best messages from coming through. Fear, doubt, insecurity, lack of worth, lack of value, anger, frustration, impatience, lack of clarity. Help us to be able to see and understand clearly the messages you are sending our way, and help me to be a clear and open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, spirit guides, guardian angels, Mama Love. Okay, so as I mentioned, beginning of the week, we have more support, but tension will definitely be mounting this week. We're feeling good in certain areas, especially when we're connecting, collaborating with people and situations that really honor and support us. We also have a really good foundation set for ourselves right now. So there is this call to have trust in yourself, trust in what you see, sense, and feel, exactly like I was saying earlier. Because there is information, Psalm book, rejoicing, faith. Yeah, there is information, and I feel like you're learning some of this. I feel like some of it's coming through intuitive downloads. Like I was saying, our intuition is very heightened right now with Neptune in Pisces. We're able to see, sense, and feel a lot of those hidden messages, hidden meanings, those things that often get lost between the lines. And we are going to be called as the week progresses. Like I said, there is tension. We're in fire season, so there is this fiery energy. You can see it like in the collective if you're out and about on the day-to-day. People are kind of tweaking a little bit, you know? There is this element of anger and aggression that we have to temper, not only within ourselves, but also in the way that we are working with other people. And so having that determination and strength, having that willpower to be able to kind of cultivate a situation to work in your favor, regardless of what's going on. It doesn't mean force. It's not the aspect of the fire element that's about force. It's about wisdom. It's about creativity. It's about being able to work with the energy in a different way than what you normally would. Reinvention is the salamander. And so in order to reinvent ourselves, in order to align more holistically with what we want, more authentically with what we want, we do have to reinvent. And that's exactly what I was talking about with those planets being in retrograde right now. They're giving us the opportunity to really assess our surroundings, assess what is highest and best for us in the moment or in a situation so that we can find grounding and support so we can make better decisions and we're not feeling so lost, right? Or like, oh, I'm in this cycle again, or oh, I'm dealing with this person again, or the name of the game is like breaking the cycle, breaking the patterns right now, that reinvention. I feel like the information, so with this Psalm book, beginning of the week, where we're having, like I said, more support, it is a heart of gratitude. Gratitude, being thankful for what has come to pass, what you have seen about people and situations, even though there is some sadness and grief around it. It's being thankful that you do see, that you are seeing this clearly, that you have been able to overcome or remove yourself from a situation, from a dynamic that really wasn't honoring and supporting you. The Hierophant right off the bat. So this is about committing to the path, right? Committing to what you want your life to look like. Hierophant is tradition, it's order. It does have a spiritual undertone, ascribing to those spiritual practices, the things, the morals, the values we have within ourselves, the type of life we want to live. Being thankful, reminding ourselves that even in the messier things, there are always aspects, there are always things to be grateful for. Yeah, because things are shifting and changing. And here's the thing, I feel like we're better situated for this tower moment. So even though the tower can be very destabilizing, it can kind of pull that proverbial rug from underneath our feet, you feel strong, like you're coming in with a very powerful foundation. And you've built it for yourself, and it feels like even though there might be some messiness this week, you're prepared is what I'm hearing. You're prepared for what is to come. You have been kind of holding the faith, whatever that looks like for you. Religion, spirituality, it doesn't matter at this channel. It's what you want to enliven in your own life. What gives you, that sense of responsibility to live in a certain way to honor your heart, your mind, and your soul. I love this energy of Queen of Cups for you because it does talk about you taking care of yourself on an emotional level. And beginning of the week, we have a lot of positive aspects to the moon, which I like because it's been a little overwhelming lately. There's been more negativity, been more tension. So we're feeling a lot of different things around what we're dealing with, right? The hurt, the pain, the frustration, the annoyance. And that's starting to lessen or is lessening at the beginning of the week. And it really confirms that value of that strong foundation I was talking about before. There is a situation that is resurfacing and you're seeing this, either you feel it, you're already dealing with it, or it's going to pop up this week. And this is something you've dealt with before. It does feel very cyclical. A person, a situation that you kind of know how it always unfolds, right? You kind of know exactly where it ends up. The beauty is, so we're getting the Tower and the Fool, which I love for you because the beauty is this wiping away, this Tower moment, whatever is shaking up the energy is actually allowing you to start fresh and start clean. And, here's the thing, there are difficulties around it, right? Anytime we start something new, anytime we're trying to get into a new habit, a new routine, etc., it takes time and it takes intention. It also does feel uncomfortable, right? In the beginning. I feel like you are cutting ties, walking away from someone that hasn't really given the same back to you. I'm hearing reciprocity. And I do feel like this conversation is coming in beginning of the week is what it's showing. It is an offer. It's a small offer. I feel like a lot of the exchange between you and this situation has been very immature, or it's like it's not been what you want. It's someone or something that talks a good game, but then when you're actually in it, it's like, this is not what I signed up for at all. With the Eight of Cups, it has this element of toxicity and unhealthiness around it, so be really conscious. Mars is in conjunction with Jupiter, and they're both square to Saturn. So that's kind of that fire energy I was talking about in the beginning, where it's like we want to make sure that we're not pushing forward in an aggressive way, because we kind of know where we're headed at this point. Whatever you're trying to manifest, whatever you're trying to draw in, it is slowly making itself to you. At the same time, there is that dance between taking action and surrendering, allowing it to come to you, having the faith, the trust, the belief that it will end up in your hands, right? And Mars square to Saturn can be a little arrogant. It can say like, I don't need to do this, or I already got this handled, or I already know what this is. And I feel like this is definitely manifesting in the beginning of the week. I feel like you're seeing things that are a little more difficult, humbling, maybe not an aspect of a person or situation that you were anticipating, but it is one that's like, thank God, right? And I don't mean to trigger anyone by saying God, but it's like whatever you ascribe to, it's just like this element of thankfulness and gratitude, because it got you out of a situation that was way messier than what it needed to be, right? Ten of Swords is betrayal, it's backstabbing, it's people, places, things that don't have your best intention in mind, that don't really care. And that's what I'm seeing. It's like someone or something wanted you to stick around, but also was like treating you poorly at the same time, not giving you a reason to stick around is what I'm seeing. And you're working yourself out of that. You're connecting a lot with your intuition this week. Like I said, not all messages are going to be fun ones. Some of them are going to be bittersweet or a little heavier to deal with. And I'm emphasizing this because as we move towards the midweek, that's when that tension really starts to build. And we're seeing this a lot with that Mars, Jupiter, Saturn tension that I was talking about earlier. But as I said, it's a way to reinvent yourself. It's a way to approach things differently, especially if you are in a situation where you're trying to collaborate, work in partnership with someone, something. I do feel like the new beginnings are bringing with it that reinvention. It's a fresh start, but there is a lot of stress around it. I feel like you have to be honest about something that you've known within yourself, but maybe haven't communicated out to this other person or the situation. But being honest, expressing what you need to is bringing this new beginning forward. Ace of Pentacles. So we're getting a lot of release around those lingering energies we've been seeing pop up. And it is offering us an opportunity for this fresh start. I feel like some of this is going to be about not getting too overwhelmed on the emotional front, because as much as we have a lot of support emotionally in the beginning of the week, in the midweek, it takes a nosedive. There's just tension all across the board. We don't like the way it feels. There's something that, okay, let me see. There's something that we're not seeing. I feel like, let me get into this a little bit more. Okay, so Ace of Wands, Seven of Swords. Okay, so someone's hiding something. We've been seeing this as well, and I do feel like this is directly related to this Tower. Something is playing out behind the scenes. You can feel this or you're sensing it. You don't have a lot of clarity around how it's going to manifest, because it does feel a little bit like it comes out of left field. There's something that's kind of blocking you from seeing. It's not good, bad, right, or wrong. I feel like this goes back to that element of like testing, testing your strength, testing your fortitude, testing your commitment. Someone's offering you something. This does feel like a past energy. They're offering you something, but it's in a indiscreet way. Is that the right word? I don't know. It's in a way where they're not completely communicating honestly. It's this expectation of you to fulfill a role that you've already fulfilled for this person or situation. But I'm not sure that it's good for you at this point. And I feel like you know this. I feel like you know this. There is this element of purity. This is your overarching energy for the week. And I love that the Hierophant is our first card, because it really does talk about the more you honor your heart, your mind, your soul, that part of you that wants to be, the best version of yourself, present the best version of yourself to the world, to the relationships, the way that you interact with people, places, and things. But sometimes having an element of innocence or purity, it can be linked to that naivete, right? So we want to make sure that we're not being bamboozled. And with that Seven of Swords, I don't know, someone just I feel an agenda. It's like, if you don't do this, then this is going to happen. It does feel a little bit like a threat. And your approach, I don't know, you don't want to engage in that type of behavior. You're looking at things from a perspective of fair and balanced. How can we make this work for everyone involved? I do feel like this conversation, this interaction, whatever this Tower moment is, it does bring in some clarity. And that is the blessing of the Tower. When all the pieces fall, we are left to see what is left. What is worthy to put our time and energy into that we can rebuild. You are stepping away from something or someone that didn't expect you to. They thought that they were going to have you, underneath their grasp. They thought it was going to be an easy, like they would get one over on you easily, or they could just kind of do whatever they wanted to do and then come back and it would be the same as it had been before. But realities are coming to light for both you and this person's situation that you're dealing with. I feel like a lot of honesty comes out this week. And usually when we're like frustrated or kind of like maxed out from a situation, it's easier to say things in a more blunt and egoic way because you're kind of done and over with this thing. You've been working really hard to heal yourself, to set that foundation that we were talking about in the very beginning. And there's resistance, I think whatever, human nature, the brain works in a way where we want to be comfortable at all times, right? But I feel like the resistance is coming from the outside more, resisting the change, resisting the change in the dynamic, the evolution of the dynamic. It's putting something on the defensive. And again, because I do see manipulative energies, I do see you dealing, you feel like you are dealing with it, but you're not paying attention to it, and not paying attention to it in the way that you're not allowing it to throw you off course, that you're not allowing it to like bamboozle you one way or the other. And as towards the end of the week, we get more support than what we're seeing midweek. There still is a lot of tension in the air. So just be mindful. But it's not as bad. And we kind of get this resurgence on the emotional front. So it's like there's a little dip in midweek and then it feels a little bit better again. But we can't force people, situations to understand what we're doing, where we're headed, especially with this 9 of Pentacles energy. This is more of a refinement of self, growing and evolving and claiming what you want and seeing how you go about that in a new way, because certain things have not been working to this point. And so I do feel like there is a little bit of a perspective shift that is being asked for during this week, especially because of the tense aspects around Venus. Like I was saying, Venus is a soft energy. So sometimes it's giving people the benefit of the doubt when maybe that's not the best, right? Or justifying bad behavior or making excuses for someone or something when it's not good for anyone involved, right? It's not helping the growth and evolution. With this 4 of Pentacles, it is about self-protection. Being smarter and more strategic about how you are moving this week is what I'm hearing. So we saw beginning of the week, we have the knowledge, we have the awareness, we have the foundation as well. And as tension rises, again, it's that value of, it's that value of, I lost my train of thought. It's that value of putting to work, putting to practice what we've learned. Sorry, something else came in. not taking people's anger, frustration personally is what I'm hearing. Yeah. There's something that big that we're healing. This ancestor card, ancestral lineage, has been coming up for us recently. And that's what this evolution is all about. You know, it's about us being able to connect back to this level of innocence and purity that we all hold within us. No matter what we've done, where we've come from, there's always a way to rebalance. Yes, it does take a lot of work. Yes, there are habits, patterns that are passed on to us from our parents, grandparents, however you want to see that we have to overcome, that we have to be willing to evolve from. And that work is not easy in and of itself. Most people don't want to do it. And then when, you know, because of this comfort component, right, we like to be comfortable. And so it does take a lot of courage and strength, because you're rewriting your story, your journey in a way that is challenging other people. People don't really want to acknowledge. They don't want to acknowledge you, and they're threatened is what I'm hearing. They're threatened by who you are and the work that you're doing. So in certain dynamics, you're getting cast aside. People, yeah, I'm hearing with this space energy, it's like people, like you have high hopes for yourself, you have high dreams, and people don't understand it, or they think you're, you know, living in a fantasy world, fantasy land. And honestly, it's not true. It's like the limitation that we're putting on ourselves. And you've done so much work. You've been so diligent. You've been refining things with this fine-tooth comb, putting things under the microscope to really understand how it is affecting not only you, but your environment around you. As much as there is going to be, you know, a little bit of tension this week, we see with this Tower energy, it's a blessing in disguise. And I feel a lot of strength coming from you this week, which is really beautiful, because you've, like I said, you've worked really hard to get here. You know, you've held strong to your path. You've kept the faith. You're continuing to push forward, even when you're not getting all these confirmations, validations across the board, because it's still putting us in dynamics that are a little bit messy. And right now, our job is to overcome them in a way that is honoring and supportive of the life we're trying to create. And I see a lot of beauty. I see a lot of newness coming in, that renewal. And this was, renewal and reinvention. So we get reinvention and renewal as the week progresses. As much as there might be some challenges, sorry that I keep saying this, but it feels good. Like I feel like you're going to come out of this week feeling really empowered, really strong, confident in yourself. It's adding this extra layer of courage and strength that you need. And it is really bringing in this new vibrancy, this new beauty that you have been waiting for a while. This is like something long in the making, you know, and it's finally coming in. And I think this is really beautiful. Super excited to see how this plays out for you. Definitely drop comments below if it resonated. I hope you found messages that resonated. Thank you so much for your time and energy always, especially if you made it this far in the video. It always blesses my heart. Know that I am sending all the love and blessings your way.